Join me in learning how you too can grow beautiful Anubias mother plants to landscape, to aquascape your aquarium with. Greetings, followers. This is John Demokis, aka Half Man, Half Cichlid. Today I'm going to talk to you about Anubias. First of all, I think most of us who follow others and trends in the hobby recognize that planted aquariums, beautiful planted aquariums like the one behind me, my 200-gallon, are an emerging and rapidly growing trend in the hobby. Anubias are one of my favorites. I like the fact that you can attach them to stones and driftwood. They come in different shapes and sizes and colors and textures. Before I had an Anubias Farm, and I'll provide a link to a previous video on my farm, I had basically stunted, dying back, and blackbeard covered Anubias plants, which I fought for quite a while. So the farm started about 18 months ago, and today is an update on that. And again, I'll provide a link to the previous video in the description. But today I have 4 aquariums with at least 3 different varieties of Anubias. And about, starting the farm 18 months ago, I did my first harvest after about 5 months, and I've been able to grow huge, and again, this is immersed, not underwater. I've been able to grow huge Anubias plants that then easily transition to immersed underwater growth and continued looking beautiful with some additional things that I do to encourage their growth and keeping algae off of them. So today the focus is on how I harvest the mother plants from my Anubias farm, how I clean and prepare and attach those Anubias plants to small stones and then place them in my aquarium. So I hope you find this video helpful, and for those of you who are interested in having a lush planted aquascape like the one behind me, I think this is probably your surest road to achieving that. The first thing I did was look at my farm, which is basically a plastic Walmart tote, and decide that it's reached a point where I have some mother plants to harvest, which I'm focusing on here, and that I need to remove them to plant some new starters inside the farm. You can also see on the right side some smaller variety. The next step in the process is to use some type of utensils to scoop the roots intact with the mother plants out of the farm. And you can see I'm doing this here, putting a fork-like utensil under the soil and popping it out. You can see these plants have grown this size in about 5 months or so. This is the 4th time I've harvested my farm, and the root structures are quite extensive, and the plants are quite large. The next step in the process is to break the plants into the size specimens that you want to attach to stones in your aquarium. Also do some trimming of maybe leaves that have some brown spots on them. Also to trim the roots back, because they do not need nearly the same root structure in your aquarium as in the farm. Here what I'm doing is I'm rinsing off as much of the soil as I can from the roots, because you certainly don't want to transfer that soil into your aquarium. Although if you do get a little bit in there, it's not, I haven't found it to be an issue. So there's a plant pretty much rinsed. I'm going to cut the roots back to a nominal size. I'm probably leaving too much roots on it. I'm rinsing it a little bit more. Here you can see I probably have about 5 plants soaking in water. Here I found some really neat stones that I use for planting the Anubias. They are porous. They've got holes in them, and I'll show you in a second why the holes are so important, beyond providing some surface area for bacteria to grow on. So there's one with a hole. You can see what I do is I've not been happy with using super glue or rubber bands or fishing lines to attach the Anubias to the rock. So I use zip ties, which are permanent. And there's no way that they will get dislodged. So we'll pick out a couple rocks here to add the zip ties to. We'll grab one of the mother plants, wrap the zip tie around the plant stem and pull it tight, position the plant so that it's upright and attractive. In this harvest of the Anubias Farm, I ended up with 5 or 6 mother plants here, each attached to a stone, which you can see. I'll do one last rinse, filling this container with water, shaking them a little bit. And I might mention that I also went in one of my aquariums and I grew this long length of Anubias, which I cut up into pieces. Now we'll transition to the aquarium, and where what were immersed plants, and some of them have been planted up to a year ago. I'm demonstrating how beautiful and lush they are, and they've grown in all cases where they've been in the aquariums. They've grown at least twice the size of what they were when I originally placed them in the aquarium. So this is my 200 with my geos. This is one of my 50-gallon aquariums. You can see there's a couple different types 3 different types in this shot of Anubias that were originally grown in my Anubias farm. And lastly, this is another 50-gallon tall aquarium with some angels, and you can see again the different types of Anubias that again were transplanted here from my Anubias farm. Hope this is helpful. Hope it helps you get a beautiful aquarium. Thank you. Looking forward to your comments and questions. Half man, half cichlid.